Hey Warriors, we're back on another episode of Empowerment in Illness. I am your host, Gwen. Today's episode is different. There are no stats, no policy debates, no warnings or warnings about what to watch for. Today, we talk about love. Not romantic love, though that plays a part. Not just self-love, though it is everything. We're talking about the kind of love that chronic illness reveals. The kind that endures when everything else fades. The kind that reshapes who you are from the inside out. You may not have asked for this journey, but somewhere along the way, you became more than a diagnosis. You became someone who knows how to love deeper, softer, stronger. Because pain breaks you down, but it also breaks you open. And through those cracks, that's where the light gets in. If no one has told you this yet today, I see your battles. I see the courage it takes to live in a body that doesn't always cooperate. And still, you keep showing up. That's love. That's power. And that's what this episode is here to honor. The mirror cracked the day your body betrayed you. Not physically, but emotionally. The person you saw looking back didn't match who you remembered. You looked tired, swollen, broken. You looked different. And in that moment, love changed. You couldn't love yourself the way you did before, not through compliments or confidence or achievements. You had to learn a new language, one that whispered instead of shouted, one that said, I still see you. I still care, even now. That kind of love doesn't come from motivation posters or bubble baths. It comes from sitting in a doctor's office after being dismissed, going home, and still feeding yourself anyway. It comes from crying in the shower and still showing up to your own life the next day. There are days when your pain wants to eat you alive, when your thoughts go dark, when you wonder what the point of fighting is. And yet, you look in the mirror, and even with tears in your eyes, you say, not today. That is love. That is fierce, unrelenting, soul-wired love. So I ask, what did chronic illness teach you to love about yourself that you never noticed before? Before I got sick, love looked like freedom. I was young, vibrant, and alive in ways I didn't even appreciate at the time. My days were full. Friends, weekends out, dinners, late night laughs. Church filled my soul. My relationships felt strong and steady. I didn't have to ask permission from my body. I moved freely with spontaneity and joy. I missed that version of life. The ease of waking up and just going. I didn't need naps, didn't worry about side effects, didn't organize my day around medication schedules. I was the kind of person who hated pills, barely took a Tylenol, much less a cocktail of prescriptions. My identity was wrapped in my energy, my availability, my reliability. Then chronic illness came in like a tidal wave. Suddenly, my body said no. No to plans. No to energy. No to the freedom I had built my life around. I had to say no to dinners. No to parties. No to long days at church. And no one prepared me for the kind of grief that creates. But here's the shift. I began to realize that love wasn't just in the freedom. It was also in the boundaries. Love became listening to my body, not pushing it past the brink. It was no longer loud and fast. It was quiet, intentional, rooted in rest and recovery. The love I thought I lost, I was just learning to see it differently. It took me a very long time to learn to love myself having this condition. Lupus hit me when I was young and vibrant. I felt it took so much from me to go from a 27-year-old to feeling like I was 80 overnight. I mourned for years. I felt sorry for myself. I tried to keep up with my old life, but I couldn't, and that made me angry. I wasted so much energy being mad at something I couldn't control. But one day, I stopped. I got tired of being angry, tired of feeling sorry for myself. It didn't happen overnight. It was a long road, but I did it. I started to appreciate the small things. On the days my body tells me to sit down, I don't fight it anymore. I call it a movie day. I rest, and I don't feel guilty about it. What changed for me was my mindset. I'm in type A personality. I thought I was in control of everything, but lupus came and showed me a different kind of control. I'm still in charge, but sometimes I have to rewrite the script. I've learned to compromise with myself. I have one body, and I have to take care of it. And the truth is, I'm learning my body better than ever. I know when lupus is flaring. I know the signs. And that knowledge, that's love. It's a blessing to know the little things, because now they mean so much. For the listeners, I know you miss the old you, the version who could say yes without consequences. But I want you to hear this. Who you are now is not less. You're more intentional, more aware, more compassionate. You've learned how to be present. You've learned how to love without conditions. That's a version of love many people never get to know. Don't underestimate the beauty in how deeply you now understand what it means to care for yourself and for others. Illness strips away the noise, the superficial, the fair weather friends. It reveals who's really in your corner. Some people can't handle it, and they leave. Others say they'll stay, but fade like fog. But then, there are the ones who stay, who show up when you cancel plans, who bring groceries or sit beside you in silence, who remember how you like your tea or what medications you're allergic to. That's not just support. That's love that sees without needing explanations. We also find unexpected allies, people online who DM us encouragement, strangers who say, "Me too," communities that carry us through nights that feel unbearable. These people don't just stay. They hold us up when we can't stand alone. We don't forget who left, but we don't let that be the only story. We remember who stayed, and in that remembering, we hold on to a truth. Love doesn't have to be loud to be loyal. Sometimes it just needs to be present. Who surprised you with their love, and who taught you that love sometimes means letting go? There are days when you don't live one day at a time. You live 1 second at a time, one breath, one heartbeat, one scream muffled in a pillow. Pain can be that loud, that invasive, that endless. You have thought things you're afraid to admit. You've wondered if it would be better to disappear. You've prayed for silence. You've begged for numbness. And still, you're here. That's love. That's survival turned sacred. Loving through the pain means saying, "I hate this, but I won't hate myself." It means saying, "I don't know how I'll get through today, but I'll try." It means reaching for help. Doctors, friends, therapists, even strangers online, because your love for yourself refuses to let you drown alone. You find moments, a funny meme, a warm blanket, a song that knows your ache. That's how you begin to love again, by honoring the seconds that soothe you instead of waiting for days that may never come. What does love look like now that your life includes a chronic pain? When your world falls apart, you start talking to yourself differently. You begin whispering encouragement to the version of you that wants to give up. You leave yourself notes, literal or emotional, that say, "I'm proud of you for trying." You begin writing love letters to the warrior within. They don't start out as poetry. They start as survival. Take your meds. Drink water. Try to eat. These are love letters. They become prayers. They become promises. And over time, the words change. You begin saying, "You're doing enough." You begin saying, "You matter." You begin saying, "Your life is not too small just because you're healing." This self-love isn't glamorous. It's not Instagram ready. It's sacred. It's messy. It's life-saving. And it's yours. What would a love letter from your past self to your present self say? You didn't plan for this diagnosis. You didn't ask for this pain. But what you've done with it, that's holy. In the rubble of your old life, you've planted seeds. You found laughter in the hospital rooms. You found joy in safe foods. You found purpose in advocacy, art, writing, creating. You've turned your suffering into softness. This kind of love is built in the ruins. It's built when you no longer chase perfection, but sit beside your grief and say, "I'll walk with you." It's built when you stop comparing your journey to others and say, "This is mine. I'm proud of it." The love that chronic illness built isn't just resilience, it's revolution. It's a love that refused to quit even when you wanted to. What kind of love do you want to give the world now that you've lived through this? For our listeners' call to action plan, write a love letter to your body. Thank it for trying. Send a message to someone who stayed. Just 2 words. Thank you. Create a new love ritual. Something small, something sacred just for you. Honor a love you had to let go of. Name it, grieve it, bless it. Make a love list of moments illness made more meaningful. Post it or keep it private. Let it remind you that this journey still has joy. Where have you overlooked love because it didn't come the way you expected? Before we leave, I would like to close with a special portion of the show I call Healing Heartbeats. This is where we allow ourselves to wallow in sorrow. Give yourself 3 minutes to laugh, cry, scream, cuss, or just sit in silence. Whatever you need to do to feel it, do it. Let the depression in for only 3 minutes. Once you reach 3 minutes, compartmentalize it and get back to living. This is a rinse and repeat behavior. You cannot let depression take over because when it does, it will not let go. When we hear about the passing of someone, they have the day they were born and the day they pass away. There is a dash in the middle. It's not a long line, but a short dash. That dash represents your life. Go live in spite of having a chronic illness. Don't let your condition stop you. This isn't a love story that ends in flowers or happily ever after. This is a love story about rising again, about learning to love the one who survived, about building a life out of broken pieces and calling it beautiful anyway. Love is still here, in your reflection, in your story, in your breath, and that means your power is too. You don't need to wait for someone else to love you back to life. You're already doing it every day, every flare, every appointment, every choice to stay. Remember, you have the strength, the heart, and the support to continue your journey. Be safe.